I think Indiana football may have a special plan for Kurtis Rourke this weekend.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into this, the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Well, today we'll have some more exhibition takeaways for Indiana basketball's win over Tennessee this past weekend as we continue to get closer to the start of the regular season. Plus, D'Angelo Pons was named the National Defensive Player of the Week. Got to give him some flowers and show him some love. And I think Indiana, as they play Michigan State this weekend, they might just have a plan for Kurtis Rourke and for Michigan State, whether he plays or not, and what his status becomes, right, as the week goes on. All of that is here on the show today. And, you know, the big question right now is, will Kurtis Rourke play? Is Kurtis Rourke going to play for Indiana football? He's got the thumb injury, had the surgery. Now he's getting better. We're being told he's throwing around. He could possibly play this Saturday. Just seems to be day to day. And, you know, there's so many different predictions and opinions out there of everybody that thinks they know and they don't. And that's really all that it is right now, is trying to make a prediction of what we think is going to happen. And if there's any coach that I think has already proven to us that he's going to keep this as close to the chest as possible, it's Curt Cignetti, right? I mean, it's Curt Cignetti because he doesn't want Michigan State to know. He doesn't want us to know. And frankly, he probably doesn't know right now. He probably has not made that decision yet, depending on how healthy Kurtis Rourke actually is. But I do believe that Curt Cignetti is going to he's going to do whatever is best for this team and gives them the best chance to win, whether that's starting Tayven Jackson, whether that's starting Kurtis Rourke, or a possibility that I think could be existing and could be coming to fruition here. What if they both play? What if they both play in this football game? And I think the best way to do it, if you get to Saturday, and heck, you probably want to make this decision before Saturday, but let's say we get to Saturday and Kurtis Rourke is just not 100%. He's probably, 75%, just for the conversation here. 75% Kurtis Rourke or 100% Tayven Jackson, who through 6 quarters of football has played pretty well. There's a possibility here where you could start Tayven Jackson on the road at Michigan State Saturday and just bank on him playing good enough, right? Don't get away from what you do. Continue to run the football, play high-level defense, a defense that has yet to be scored on in the first quarter this season. Rely on those two things and just don't put Tayven Jackson in a position to fail. Just give him enough options to succeed. You could do that and bank on that, and if he performs well, then roll with him, and then you give Kurtis Rourke another week. But I think you got to tell your Heisman hopeful quarterback with the thumb injury, hey, be ready just in case. I wouldn't even tell Tayven Jackson. I wouldn't tell him anything. Hey, Kurtis Rourke, he's probably not going. This is your game, man. This is you. You got it. You're the man. And see what he does. And if you struggle and you feel that Kurtis Rourke is good enough to go, maybe put him in the second half. Because think about this. This isn't Ohio State. This isn't Oregon. This isn't Penn State. This is not a top 5 team in college football. This is Michigan State, who isn't great, isn't really good, really. I mean, they're just an average football team. Not saying they can't win. I'm just saying you're not going up against a national title contender here. So you can afford to not start your starter or have to bring him in later in the game or even suffer a deficit at the half. And I don't want this to come off as that I am totally writing off Tayven Jackson, that I don't think he can do it. I think Indiana can win with Tayven Jackson, which is kind of my point to all of this, is start Tayven Jackson. If it works out, cool. You win the game and you move on. But if it doesn't, then you bring in Kurtis Rourke, who he's a pro. He'll be ready. If he feels healthy enough and is cleared to play, he will be ready at any given time. And I don't think he would see that as a diss to him. I don't think he would see that as, wow, they really don't trust me. Wow, they really don't think I'm ready. I just don't think he would think that way. He doesn't give off that kind of vibe. I don't know him personally, but I would like to think that a dude who's played college football that long would understand the situation and be like, yeah, this is probably the best thing for the team. And look, is the best thing for this Indiana football team is a 100% healthy Kurtis Rourke. That's obvious here. But I just don't know if we're going to have that by Saturday. I think we'll have that by next weekend. I think next week we'll be fine. But the conversation is for this game against Michigan State. So what if that's not the plan? Then what is? We don't know. We're going to find out Saturday. But Curt Cignetti and this staff will have a game plan. They will have a strategy. And if they've showed us anything, they will probably execute it to near perfection, whatever that game plan is, because they've just been that good so far at doing basically whatever it is they want to do. And so could it be Tayven Jackson? Could it be Kurtis Rourke? Could it be a combination? I think that's what you have to do. That's as of right now on Wednesday, that's what I think could happen here. I think Curt Cignetti wants to start Kurtis Rourke, but only if he's 100%. And something that I've been saying that I will continue to say, the last thing you want here, right? The last thing you want to do is put Kurtis Rourke out there and him re-injure that thumb or make it worse and him possibly be out for the rest of the season. That's what we don't want. You do not want Kurtis Rourke to hurt that thumb even more and possibly be out for the year, with Michigan, Ohio State, and Purdue still on the schedule, possible Big Ten championship, and possible college football playoff. That's the worst outcome here. So you do have to play this carefully. Even if Kurtis Rourke says, yep, I'm good, put me in, I'm ready, coach. You got to make the right evaluations here and see what's best for the team in the long run and not just for a single game against Michigan State. Well, coming up on Locked On Hoosiers, got to show some love to the defensive side of the football, man. D'Angelo Ponce was named the National Defensive Player of the Week. He's in on that side of the football that's been dominant so far for Indiana this season. We'll talk about that coming up next on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is my go-to ticketing app for any sort of event. Music, comedy, theater, sports, you name it, they have got it. And right now, they've got a feature called Game Time Picks. It filters out the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. Some of my favorite parts about the Game Time app is their all-in pricing. When you toggle this feature, it shows your total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. The price you see is the price you pay. Also, the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So you're guaranteed to have the lowest price out of any other platform. Game Time is the place to be. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. And to everybody that has been a part of this ride so far, all my audio listeners, all my video watchers on YouTube, thank you. Thank you very, very much for all the support you've given this show and that you continue to give to this show. Audio listeners, be sure that you are subscribed if you can, follow if you can, and make sure those notifications are turned on so you can download the episode every single day and you never miss a new one of Locked On Hoosiers. And for all my video people on the YouTube side, where the numbers have been going crazy as well, be sure you like this video, you comment your thoughts down below. What should the game plan be for the quarterback room this Saturday? Tayven Jackson, Kurtis Rourke, combination of the both, or should we just keep it a secret and see if Michigan State can figure it out? That's an option too. Leave that comment down below, and then be sure, if you have not already, to subscribe to the channel. Scroll down a little bit. It's just to the right of our Locked On Hoosiers logo. We're growing on that category as well, so thank you so much. Well, it's fun to talk about this offensive side of the football where there's so many talented guys in the running back room and the receiver room. The offensive line is playing like a top unit in the country. And of course, when Kurtis Rourke is healthy, he was getting Heisman hopes, Heisman conversations from this guy right here. But the defensive side of the football, I think, has been the rock of this entire Indiana football team, just based off of what they've done all season long. And it's because of guys like D'Angelo Ponds, who had 2 interceptions over the weekend against Washington. He was our Roy Player of the Week right here on Locked On Hoosiers, and he has now been named the National Defensive Player of the Week, the Bronco Nagurski Award, National Defensive Player of the Week. I want you to think about that for a second. I want you to let that sink in on what that really means. He was deemed the best defensive player, the most impactful, the most effective defensive player in all of college football last week. And I think it's true. 2 big interceptions. The one, again, I can't get over how he was able to come down with that football. The concentration and the camera work was great on TV on the Big Ten Network. They zoomed in on it, of him bobbling it on the way down several times. But the one that was, I think, most impactful, obviously, was the pick 6 to start the entire game, which gave Indiana a little bit of life. It gave the crowd some life. It gave Indiana the edge that they've had all season long. And D'Angelo Ponds is the reason for that. Now, I think you have to give a ton of credit to the defensive line, who has really given a ton of pressure all season long on opposing quarterbacks. And man, I love the linebacker room. I do. They're just so disciplined in there. Whether you ask them to bring immediate pressure on the quarterback, or a delayed pressure, or drop into zone, or just flat out cover somebody, they can do it all. And I was telling somebody the other day, this defense just keeps everything in front of them, right? I mean, the big plays just don't happen that often. Washington had a couple, and that's it. Indiana is just so disciplined, and it's a communication thing in a good way. There are no breakdowns in communication. There are no confusions on what set that this team is in, or what they should be in, or the checks that they make based off of what the offense is showing them. Like, they've just got it all. And I mentioned this earlier, this defense has yet to be scored on in the first quarter. Think about that. And so you pair that with an offense that is red hot right now, with Kurtis Rourke and even Tayven Jackson, an offense that seemingly can't be stopped consistently because of the run game and because of the threat through the air. This team is really, really hard to beat. Man, opposing teams and coaches, they've got to be scratching their heads and saying, what the heck do we have to do to beat this team? Because they're just so good. They're so talented, and nobody really knew that. And people haven't realized that until they started watching us. And now that we've got dudes who are winning national awards on the defensive side of the football, yeah, it's time to start taking notice. And D'Angelo Ponds is a guy that you really you love to watch, you love to cheer for, and excited to see what he can do moving forward. It was his first pick 6 for D'Angelo Ponds, and one, again, that really set Indiana up to do big things. And man, look at the rest of the games here, right? I've mentioned this several times. Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, Purdue. That's what you have left. Let's be honest here. 3 of those offenses are terrible. Michigan State's offense is average. Michigan's offense is bad. Purdue is just bad in general. And then Ohio State, is really, really good when they want to be. And so this defense has got to be really, really confident and almost kind of drooling at the mouth a little bit to say, man, we can get after Michigan State. We can get after the Wolverines. We can get after Purdue and then give us Ohio State, right? They're going to have several opportunities to flex their muscles yet again. And I don't think I ever said this at the start of the year because we just didn't know. But, man, the defense has given this team chances to win every single time. Like, the defense is where it all starts, I think. Everybody wants to talk about the offense, but, man, this defense has been locked solid, locked down. And that's so underrated in college football. Man, I want you to look at what Nebraska did against Ohio State. That defense is good too. They just didn't play like it because our offense dominated them. And we had some help along the way, right, from our defense. But I just think that throughout the rest of the regular season and whatever the postseason may hold, our defense is something we can fall back on time and time again. Even in the few turnovers that this offense has had for Indiana, the defense has turned right around and done what they've had to do. To perfection? No, but pretty close, right? And I think there's a confidence here. I think there's a confidence if the offense turns it over, which, again, they've done a really good job at not doing. But you could put this defense in a bad situation, put them on the 20-yard line with only 20 yards in the end zone to defend, and you have a really good high confidence that they're going to do it, that maybe they're only going to give up a field goal, or maybe they stop them on fourth down or a goal line stand, right? Things we've seen all season long. Man, that's so big for a head coach. And I'll say this too, that's big for an offense because these guys talk, they rely on one another. And I think as I just kind of rattle things off here, that's another aspect of this is Indiana's offense has been so effective. They don't go 3 and out very often. They had a few early against Washington, but they don't do that very often, which means that defense is sitting on the sideline. They're hanging out. They're chilling. They're watching. They're relaxing. They are rested. They're healthy, and they are just full of life and energy because they're not constantly running out on the field time and time again. Oh, are you serious? They went 3 and out again? All right, here we go. Another series. Oh, great. They turned it over again. Here we go. I just sat down. Where's my helmet? Like, that's not really happening right now with Indiana. And, man, you have to show love to the offensive side and how they're working in conjunction with the defensive side. People don't talk about that enough, I don't think, in college football. Different in basketball, baseball, but college football, when you have two separate units and one relies on the other and vice versa. And the offense has done such a good job this year at chewing up clock, going on effective drives, and then scoring at the end of those drives and giving the defense something to defend. I watch defenses all season long, every Saturday, that are really, really talented, that are really, really good. They just give up. They give in. They can't do it anymore because they're tired of defending a 0 or low numbers on the scoreboard. It's not a problem here in Bloomington. Offense can score and defense won't let them. It's truly incredible to watch, which is feeding all into why this Indiana team is just so good. And it starts with guys like D'Angelo Pons, who is a National Defensive Player of the Week for his 2 interception performance against Washington. Well, coming up on our final segment on Locked On Hoosiers, more reactions from Indiana's exhibition win over Tennessee. Yeah, Miles Rice was great. Umar Ballo, he'll get there, but more reactions from that and what Indiana could be on the basketball floor this season. We'll have that for you coming up on our final segment on Locked On Hoosiers. Final segment on Locked On Hoosiers. Thank you again for being here. Shout out to all my everydayers. I see you, I hear you, and I do appreciate you. If you're looking for some other shows to add into your rotation every single day, I've seen a ton of Indiana fans on the Locked On Big Ten show with Craig Sheeman, so be sure that you continue to go check him out. He's a Hoosier himself, so be sure you go and listen to his show. He does a fantastic job, and he also is the one who hosts our Big Ten squad shows that we post on Thursdays here on the YouTube channel and on audio. So be sure that you are checking those out as well. They're a lot of fun. We got another fun one coming up for you tomorrow. But Indiana and Tennessee in this exhibition game on Sunday. I have a few more notes that I wanted to go over because I've seen a lot of people reacting, some people overreacting, which is fine. It happens all the time. But a couple of other things that I wanted to highlight here. And we're going to start on the positive side of things. On the offensive side of the floor, there was something I saw from Indiana several times and from several players that we didn't see a whole lot of a year ago. In the half-court offense, the ball was moving around the perimeter. I thought pretty well. Mike Woodson said he wasn't overly pleased with it. Ended up having a lot of turnovers in this game, so it was a little harder to judge that. But the thing that I saw that we did not see a year ago, man, there were some excellent back cuts from this Indiana team. Guys moving without the basketball. They were getting open and getting easy buckets because of it. And something I feel we struggled with a year ago was standing and watching, right? This team loved to be in the half court offense for whatever reason. And if it wasn't a point guard or a big man down low, they just kind of stood off and watched because everybody knew what was about to happen. Everybody knew who was getting the basketball. It was, okay, where's Malik? All right, where's Khalil? Where are they? Oh, there they are. Boom. Throw it to them and get out of the way. Everybody knew that. And so there wasn't a whole lot of extra effort on the offensive side to get open. And I'll say this. I don't think the offense allowed them to do that as well. You are supposed to do it on your own, but there's supposed to be build-ins and add-ons to offensive sets where you're going one way, but if you see that opening, you're supposed to hit it and get open, and it should be open, and boom. You normally have an easy layup, easy jump shot, whatever the case may be. That just didn't happen a year ago, but it did on Sunday. It did against Tennessee, and Indiana got several easy buckets because of it, and that's what we've got to get more of this year. That's what I've been screaming from the rooftops since a year ago is, man, we're making it hard on ourselves. We're making it hard going pure 5-on-5 and just 1-on-1 and see if we can score over this guy. To heck with that. Screw that. I'm going to backdoor and get right behind the defense and find a little hole and get up, lay it up, and go down, run the other way. Same way I've said push the basketball in transition, right? Who cares if you let them get back or not? Take advantage of what you have. And I think Indiana did a good job of that on Sunday. Another thing that I wanted to mention here, Langdon, Hatton, and Luke Goode, something that Mike Woodson did address, and I probably did too. Can't remember, but I want to address it again as we wrap up. Man, they're going to have to hit some shots. They're going to have to score. And Woodson, I know he talked about how they are shooting at like a 37% rate or something like that in practice from three. And that's great. That's awesome. Everybody's a national champion practice coach. You got to do it in games. You got to do it on the floor. And that goes for the three-point shooting as a whole. I'm looking at Mbako. I'm looking at the guards, Rice and Carlisle. I'm looking at Goode and possibly Malik Renew. Also Trey Galloway. We got to remember that too. So, look, I understand it was their very first game as an Indiana Hoosier for Luke Goode and Langdon Hatton. There's a long season ahead. But I'm just telling you, and I think I did mention this the other day, but they've got to be an impact on this team. You cannot go and swing and miss on these guys in the portal. And I don't think we did. I think they're going to be very impactful and very effective. They just didn't show a whole lot of that in the exhibition. And look, I think it could take some time for them to find their role a little bit and figure out exactly what is needed from them on this Indiana team. Good news is you have the entire non-conference schedule to do that. Unfortunately, the non-conference schedule is super weak, in my opinion, so I don't know how much we're going to be able to learn and figure out about all of that, and maybe we have to do that as the season goes on. I'm excited for Goode and Hatton, but they have to have an impact on this team. And then overall, I think they just played really good. They had great effort, and you get a gritty win over a really good Tennessee team. Look, it's an exhibition. I don't care. This wasn't an exhibition against Indiana State Technical Community College. This was Tennessee. Okay, this was a good team and a good program that gave you everything you wanted and gave you everything they had, and they tried to win the game too. And they had a chance to do it, but they couldn't because you beat them. And I'm just telling you, as we wrap up here, That should give you excitement. That should give you confidence in what this Indiana basketball team could be and the amount of talent that is on this team right now going into 2024 and 2025. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked on Hoosiers. Man, we're having a ton of fun over here, and I appreciate you being a part of it. Again, for all my YouTube watchers, like the video, comment down below your thoughts on the episode today, and be sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And for all my audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, doesn't matter, wherever you are on any audio platform, be sure that you are following us and have your notifications turned on so you can download the episodes every single day. A lot of platforms will let you automatically download it. So be sure that you're doing that as well so you never miss a new episode of Locked on Hoosiers. We're back tomorrow, Hoosier fans. So until then, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.